5. Give that 10K.
Give out that 10K. I want to buy McDonald's.
Guess who's on a story time splurge, baby? Let's go. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here today, please make sure to smash that subscribe button, and for all my returning subscribers, you know why I've got wine sperm on my lips. I've been recording like crazy today. Obviously trying to drop as much content as I can for you. And the one thing that I did notice from a lot of my faves is that they ask for a lot of story times, and y'all know I've got enough story times to tell you stories for the next 2 years. But I thought that I wanted to take a break from that because that's not the image I wanted to portray on YouTube. I definitely didn't want to seem like, you know, all my stories are centered around Inzodza. But Inzodza, my Inzodza, you know? So, oh my gosh, when I was telling my previous story time, which probably might come up before this one, or this one might come up before that one, it kind of catapulted this story time. So I think I'm gonna do that one first so that you can understand why I decided to do this one now, right? Am I bright enough? Should I get the foil? That I don't even know if it still gets the job done. Does it still get the job done, guys? I wouldn't know. I really wouldn't know. Anyway, so today I am gonna tell the story. Yo guys, this is a story bandla. It's a story. Yo! Like, I don't even know if I want to tell the story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway because it's my channel, it's my story, it's my story. Okay, let me get that. Guys, life was obviously meant for the living, but that doesn't mean that living was the greatest of times, you know? And judging by the story time, you can already see this is why I've got trauma when it comes to other people's baby mothers and baby fathers, because, guys, I know I've lived shit. Without rambling too much, let me start at the beginning of the story time, right? So, this obviously happened when I was dating Drake, because he's the only problematic gent I've seemingly ever dated. But I was dating Drake, and you guys obviously know how I met Drake. I was very young, and he was quite a significant amount of age. Significant amount of age. That's that red wine talking shit. I might need to go to my boyfriend's house. No, so I was dating Drake when I was young, and he was significantly older, but like he wasn't like out of his 20s or anything like that. But when I met him, I was super young, and he had just came out of a relationship with someone previous to me, and not me being the home wrecking, which is obviously the narrative people created, but sure. So he had came out of the relationship, and when I met him, he was seeing somebody else. And it wasn't that baby mama child. So I met him, and then we started to date, and in dating we obviously had some trials and tribulations, and those trials and tribulations obviously included me finding out that he had a lady that he had kids with, and they had lived together, they had a life together. And now I didn't know Drake from a bar of soap, so I didn't know any of these like things and about him. Like, I was young, I was 21, and I was so used to dating guys my age and whatever the case may be, that when I met Drake, it was a completely new audience of people. I couldn't even ask this one, what about his life is like this? Nothing. And they also had no idea where I was from. We met in the most random of spaces, so we couldn't even fact check with each other, you know? Like, I couldn't even ask his friends. I couldn't even say, oh, I know this girl, so maybe I can do a background check. Now, that plays a very pivotal point when you realize, Hore, I had no idea what was going on here. Indoda, Mona, Omotsabe, Mona, but after God fear what? Indoda. Thank you. So, okay, fine. His version of events is that when I had met him, they had separated, or they had split, or whatever he had said to me. No, not whatever. That was exactly what he said to me. He was like, no, they had split, they were going through things, it was not working, but they obviously had these 2 children together that they had to, you know, kind of look after, whatever the case may be. Okay, fine. Fine. And now, me being a very pessimistic person, I obviously had that thing in the back of my head that this nigga is lying. But then here's where I started to believe him. So we had met in October, And then in December, we went on our first date, and then we ended up spending more or less the whole December together, right? It was a spiritual, magical, lovable, gumnandi. Met his family members, met everybody, to a point where I started feeling like I was his girlfriend because we spent every second day together, which then ultimately led to me being his girlfriend. So I think that part of the story, he wasn't necessarily lying about, but I think the manner in which he did it was the part that was very questionable. Okay? Because men are, say it with me, liars. Shut up. So in December, we fell in love, whatever the case may be, and in that time, we had the conversation about where this lady is, where she's staying, what's the setup, what's happening, and he was like, don't even worry, I got that shit under control, and basically what's happening is that we basically kind of sort of don't live together anymore. Which then turned out to be true. So, you see, that part I can't even fault him, because I think it was true, because shortly afterwards, we basically, like, I would see him frequently, like frequently come to his house. It was frequent, it was happy, it was great stuff, right? And now that is essentially how I found out about that situation, and that's the story or the version of events that I had, that it was over and that was fine. And in this instance, has it all wrong? No, in this instance I'm different, because kamole, na never. Benny's bagels kamole, na never. Guys, as kurumena maqiniso. Sometimes tina amantombazana asikho right. We're not good people at times.
Basadi ba re tshwenya straight. No, basadi ba re tshwenya.
I had to get rid of that foil because I'm not going to be able to use my hands, because I'm going to be too focused on making sure that this foil doesn't fall. Okay, cool. So fast forward, we start dating, and to be really honest with you, it was a magical time in our lives. We were so happy, we were so infatuated with each other. We had issues that we obviously had to get through, but we basically genuinely, without a shadow of doubt, started dating. And that's the one thing I can definitely give kudos to him for. He definitely was very what's the word, stand ground in that. Stand ground was very stand ground, dagama. Mara iyo nenyaziyo. Mara Eastern ground. Okay, he was very forthcoming in the fact that he wanted to be with me, and that was enough for me to basically fall in love with him and believe that everything was true, of which up till a certain point, I'm a daughter, say it with me, liars. Right, now fast forward to about a year or two in. No, I think about a year and a half in. One day, I think it was on Father's Day. Yeah, Father's Day, on Father's Day, now we had each other's passwords, okay? We were deep in the love bomb, and we were living together at that time. We were in a completely different place, whatever the case may be. Father's Day comes, she sends him a, was it a text or WhatsApp? I ain't gonna forget this day. It was a Sunday morning, and she sends him a text, and she's like, Happy Father's Day, come Tenny. Happy Father's Day to, I don't know, the father of my kids, or I don't know what it was. But she was like, Happy Father's Day, the kids and I love you very, very much. The kids and who? Something is hitting the water, and something is hitting the water very strong. It's a speedboat, but something is hitting the water here. I'm like, so initially I read it, and because he would allow me to check his phone. So I'm like, babe, now which one is this one now? You know? And he's like to me, even me, I don't know what's going on. Yo, nah, guys. Nah, me, I was played right. And let's not even count the other people he's cheating with where we stay. We're not talking about the mother, who's not even in the province. Nah, I've been through it all, hey. As a matter of fact, I might as well just unsubscribe from this page, because you're dealing with traumas, yeah. Like now you're dealing with real-time traumas. So I ask him, and I'm like, how, dude, what's happening here, you know? And he's like, no, I actually also don't know. Now bear in mind, guys, she had been doing funny things to kind of get his attention at that time. And now these are things that I'm picking up because he's in, obviously, my vicinity when these things are happening. But now I don't know what he's doing when he's not in my space. So everything that is happening, I'm like, ah man, she's the one who's making moves on him. She's the one who's actually gunning after him. And I'm now getting irritated because I'm like, okay, cool. When she calls, she's very iffy, she's very this, she's very snappy, she's very not too impressed with the fact that he's got a new girl, whatever the case may be, this, that, and the third, of which, as someone who's had parents who have been divorced, I don't know what that was like, but my parents are best friends, okay? My dad and my mom got divorced, but I still saw my dad every weekend. And my dad would come, him and my mom, and then he would leave. Like, I don't remember there being any sort of woman in the middle or whatever, because I think my mom, she left with the dignity that she had. And because my mom was so perfect, I don't say it, we're not perfect. Because my mom was like a great person in general, my dad and my mom still maintained that kind of, you know, respect and love for each other for the sake of their children. And of which, even when they did separate, they were still the bestest of friends. Not the bestest bombers, but they were such good friends and they were so amicable, you know. Well, at least that's what I remember, you see? So now, she's now doing funny things. I'm noticing strange things. I'm noticing him answering the call going outside. I'm noticing, you know, when he answers his messages, or like, let's say he's asking me to respond to something, whatever the case may be, and I go through their message and their messages are not connecting. But at that time I hadn't noticed that yet because I wasn't worried about the state of their relationship because it hadn't bothered me. I hadn't noticed something that was worth worrying about. And also to just kind of maintain the respect and of their relationship. I'm not a part of it, and I have no business kind of coming here and wanting to no, that was not cool, and I was not going to do that until I noticed that no man, things are starting to not connect. So there were certain things that he would do in front of me, like answer the call outside and do this and do that, or like maybe when he answers the call he acts like I'm not there. And I think the issue started arising when the kids would come to visit him, and I don't know if maybe she would notice that I'm in the picture or whatever the case may be, and she had an issue with that, which is fair, which is very fair, respectable. I can respect that, you know what I mean? And he would show me some of the things that she would say about me, like the derogatory terms that she would use when she spoke about me to him. And that's where my disdain for her kind of started, you know? Okay, cool, sharp, hey, ha! Alright, now I'm starting to notice a trend in terms of like the conversations, whatever's happening, this is happening, and then okay, but now I'm noticing in the thread of the conversations he's deleting some messages, some conversations are not making sense, this and this is happening, but like the combos are not communicating. And now he's going home every like second weekend. I don't know what's going on. There were certain things that he was hiding from me, but I couldn't pick up at the time what was happening. Now bear in mind guys, out of all the cheating that was done, my eyes weren't even focused on the hands that were in my vicinity, because the person that I was worried about was this lady over here, because she seemed to have like, their connection was way deeper, it went way further back, and I totally understood. So she was actually my concern. Everybody else, but she's just chitela song about foot. But chitela song, we are sister clubs, sister wives, we had a club. We should have had an AAT meeting to really just talk. But because Nina, bening a phone kulumanami, that's what it is. Cool, then I started noticing like a trend in how their messages were not connecting. And then this is where I took my first L. Oh, son. No, I took my L, hey. It was baby mama 1, it was Naledi 0. I one day took his phone and I noticed that the convos were not connecting. So I took her number and I saved it on my phone. And when I saved it on my phone, that was just that one time at night. I took her number and I saved it on my phone. And then the next day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna text her and I'm gonna ask her what's going on. And I'm gonna be a grown-up about it because I can now see that this is what's happening. And I wasn't coming now with that angle of, yeah, what are you doing with my man? No, I was coming with the, hey, I hope you're well. I'm really sorry to be doing it like this, but I just need to know the truth because I can see that things are not connecting. you know? You don't come woman to woman with this funny attitude, you know? And I swear to God, she was so rude to me that day. Yo, I had never met someone who was so rude to me. That's when I stopped woman to woman. She was the reason that I told myself I would never, ever, ever confront a woman about cheating with my man. Because I was like, hey, how you doing? Let's give her a name. Griselda. I'm like, hey Griselda, how you doing? My name is this. I took your number from Drake's phone, and I'm sorry to be coming with this kind of angle, but things are not starting to make sense. Could you just kindly tell me what's going on? And honestly, like, the truth would help me, because if this is what's going on between the two of you, I would obviously like to very nicely exit the common denominator, because I was pissed at Drake. She didn't do anything wrong. Griselda didn't owe me anything, because at the end of the day, she's also still fucking pissed about the fact that Drake left her for me, as they say. But it wasn't even for me, y'all gotta stop that narrative. Like, by the time I met Drake, he was the baddest bitch in the streets. Sharp. Okay, cool. You know what she does? She's like, you should probably ask your man. I don't know why you're texting me, but you should probably ask your man about what's going on. And then she took a screenshot of our conversation and she sent it to Drake. And she was like, could you please tell your girlfriend to stop texting me? Yo, it hit. Yo, God. I'm on that day. He even said to me, Yabon. Yo, he even said to me, Yabon, I told you don't contact her. Because I had threatened him. I was like, I'm actually, give me her number, let me call her. And he was like, don't do it, I ain't gonna do it. Don't do it, I ain't gonna do it. Vines are great. So he told me, he was like, Naledi, ngithe nguwe. I think it's because he knew that she was very, there's a word, vindictive. That's the word. She was very vindictive. And the reason I say that is because you'll see why in the next segment of the story time. She was very vindictive. Like, she wanted to hurt me. She didn't really care about hurting him. She wanted to hurt me. And I'm like, fuck! I didn't even know that picture. I gave him an ultimatum. I said it's me or her. And he picked me according to me. According to him. That fucking bitch. Guys, so now it's Griselda 1. Naledi go. Now I'm crying. Now I'm just hurt. I'm feeling so defeated. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how women treat one another. This is what's going on. Like, I was prepared to leave him. And I remember I was so prepared to leave him. I was like, whatever message this girl sends me, I am prepared to leave him. Now, bear in mind, there's other stories of other women that he was with. And I was prepared to tell her everything that he was doing this side. And when she came at me like that, I was just like, I'ma stay with my man, cause that's my man. And if you gonna dog me like that, then you got me fucked up if you think I'm leaving him. We'll go into a good old-fashioned joust. That's when I was so hurt. I even remember he comforted me and he apologized. He was like, you know what? I'm sorry. Maybe there are some things I've hidden from you, but I've only hidden them from you out of the safety of you, because I know the kind of person she is. There are things that she said about you. That's when he started showing me the things that she would say, how she would refer to me, like she would call me out of my name. And I was like, okay, I get it now. So now I can tell that it came from a very hurt place. That's fine. So I never contacted her again after that. I kept her number though, because I'm gonna need it in future reference. But I never ever contacted her again. I told myself I am not going to go through that trauma again. Cool. Fast forward to a year later, or like a year, yeah. Fast forward to about a few months later, maybe 8-9 months later. Ziyasha manje. Ayasha manje. Now the house is burning. I remember we were driving to his aunt's place, and and she called him. We were in the car, you know, we were just cruising, lovers and all. And you know what, guys, that's the saddest thing about this whole horrible love story, is that we were in love amidst all this nonsense. We were so in love, like we were inseparable. Okay? We're driving to his aunt's house. And as we're driving to his aunt's house, his phone is connected to the car. So she calls him, and then he's like, I'll call her back. So now, because she's not in my best books, I'm just like, whatever, you know. I've seen things, I've let them slide, I've kept quiet. She calls again. Now I'm getting agitated, because now I'm like, okay, initially I'm like, okay, answer the phone. Maybe it could be something to do with the kids. And he was like, nah. And then I looked at him. I'm like, now I'm pissed, because now I'm like, why aren't you answering the phone? Why are you not answering the phone? Now we're having a back and forth. No, guys, I'm kidding. But you know, when it had a rooftop, so I remember my week just doing this while I'm looking. I was like, why are you not answering your phone? So now I take his phone and I attempt to call her, and now he stops me from calling her, and I'm like, okay, nah. I'm like, you better tell her that I want to talk to her now, because now she's disrespecting me. Nah. I was gonna let this little affair slide, because I thought that, you know what, it's tit for tat, butter for fat. But now, no, now you're disrespecting me, and now I'm not gonna take it, because now she knows we're dating. And from the last time that I tried to come at her nice, now I'm gonna tell her straight gang, angle, highway with this in and he's like, no. He stops me from calling her. And then I think I took his phone because he was driving, and now he has to look at me. He's trying to grab his phone, and I'm busy, and I'm noticing like, no, these conversations are not connecting again. And then I don't know WhatsApp call. I don't know if the WhatsApp call existed at that time. But I remember that I wanted to text her, and he grabbed it, guys. I remember the car even swerving. No, things were starting to get ugly now. So now he tries to grab the phone out of my hand. Then the car swerves a little bit, right? But that's because it was a rear end drive. You're welcome, Drake. So as he tries to grab the phone out of my hand, I think I dial her number, and then he hangs up. He grabs it, he hangs up. She calls back. He doesn't pick up. Now he's angry at me. Now he's shouting at me. No, how could you do that? That's that and the third. Now I'm pissed off, because now I can tell what's going on. Now I'm like to him, tell her that I want to talk to her. Tell her that now, this is not a request. And then I would have been like 3.5 years, going on 4 years that we've been dating. So now it was like, now you just owe me that respect. And that is why every time they have the baby mama chat on the TL, I get so triggered, because it was like, you can't create a relationship with someone who, one, doesn't want to create a relationship with you. That's respectable. But two, is also still in love with the father of her kids, so she takes it out on you, which was my situation at that time. Fine. I don't know how it gets to a point where he eventually tells her that I want to talk to her. And let me tell you how I find out that he had told her that I want to talk to her. Now fast forward to, I don't know how many weeks later it was. I don't check Facebook. I don't. If you want to contact me, go on Instagram. Now, I had seen all the things that he was doing for her. Like, I had seen the things. Like, he would definitely run things by me first. He's like, no, I want to buy the kids this, and I want to buy them an animal, and I want to buy them a dog. And, you know, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea, you know? And then he'd buy it, then he'd send me pictures and show me. You know, like, he tried transparency up until the point where it worked for him and her, not the point where it worked for me. You understand? Because this is the part where I knew that nah, bantwana mase bali tuba, and baba hololo na bali tu baba hololo na bali tu 30-year-olds bayenza ntotse to a young 20-something-year-old, right? One day I'm chilling at his house. Now I had the key to his house because we lived together. So I had went to his house that day, or I think I'd slept there, but I went there that day so that he could come home to a cooked meal, because standard one thing I can tell you without a shadow of doubt, no matter how much we fought, that nigga always had a cooked meal on his table. He always knew without a shadow of doubt. Well, understand, that's what I was always taught, like monna harobal katlala type of thing. I was taught that. I don't know if it's coming from these old traditional misogynistic ages, but I was always taught that monna harobal katlala, no matter how angry you are, you make him a plate, you either put it in the microwave if you're that pissed, but I always made him food, I always cooked for him. And I remember that day we weren't beefing too much, like we there were problems in our relationship and I was very insecure, but I still loved him. Yabona that day. Yabona baba ngathi umhlaba ungavuleka ube nongwinyi. Aye, ke metse lefatshe le bele lengwinyi. Out of sheer coincidental something, I go through my Facebook. I realize I've got an inbox. When I check who it's from Griselda. It's from Griselda. Okay, so now my heart is go, and I'm at his house. I'm waiting for him to come back home from where? The same area where him and Griselda grew up. Like if his home is here, Griselda's home is a 20-minute drive. From me, it's a 2-hour drive. So I'm just like, and I knew that it would pass by Griselda's house, obviously for the sake of the kid. I opened the message, and you know what the first thing she says to me is, I heard you wanted to speak to me.
Ooh, had been saying that. Who said that?
I can't breathe. I'm like, first of all, why would Drake even tell her that? I was just in the epitome of my anger, but I'm like, it's a good thing. And then as soon as she sees that I've read it and I'm online, she's like, she says something like, I'm gonna tell you this now, that Drake and I are still seeing each other and we're still sleeping together.
Wow.
Before I can respond on behalf of my man in Zazayam, screenshots, I think there were about 4 or 5. And this is the part where I knew for a fact she was being vindictive. She showed me a screenshot of a very intimate picture that Drake had sent her, basically telling her like, I can't wait to tap that. And she was like, it's gonna be ready waiting for you, daddy. Ah! No! I'm like,
No ways, no ways, no fucking ways. Oh.
I went on that day, guys. The fact that that day, it's a good indication of my self-worth. It's a good indication of my inability, my ability to really just hold myself in. She was like, screenshot. She was like, I heard you wanted to speak to me. By the way, I just wanted to let you know that Drake and I are still fucking. And then I don't even know, she left a little emoji with a smile or whatnot, but she was like, listen, I just wanted to let you know that me and your man, lol, we fucking. As in like, you really thought that was your man? Think again. Checkmate, bitch. And I was like, now it's Griselda 2, Naledi 0. Now I'm like, nah. Now you're coming for my throat. Now the baby mama's coming for my throat. Now I had to put my thinking cap on, cognitive thinking. I was like, nothing. Yeah, but at this time, you know what I did? Ask me what I did. Cause I'm the what? The MVP. I took whatever was left of Istima Sami while she was busy showing me how they busy sexed each other and how they have sex and how he comes and he acts like he's seeing the kids, but you know what I did? You know what I did? I don't regret it though. I don't get shit. I took all those messages, screen grabs of our conversation, and I sent them to Drake's mom. Boom, bitch! I sent them to Drake's mother, and I sent her a message, and I was like, "Hi, mother. I think it's best that you know that Griselda and Drake are being intimate, and these are the messages that Griselda sent me via Facebook, and I think you should talk to Drake." Guys, that day, we should have all died. It was a 2-day conference of phone call to phone call of yay. Things were burning. It was the first time I heard Griselda cry on the phone. She was crying. They were serving her the platter of platters. They were like, "Why are you annoying Naledi? Naledi kena kae ko ntho tsentse o di etsang? Tsa o di etsang? Di chila. And guys, this happened so long ago. I think this happened when I was like 22, 23. No, it happened when I was 23. So I send his mom those screenshots. I send a message, and then I send them to Drake. And I send a message. And right after I send a message, well, I'm like, it's over for good. I send him a screenshot of the message I sent to his mom. And I'm like, now everybody's burning. But luckily for you, foundation can withstand that heat. Guys, things are not looking good. And now this guy is driving back to me at his house. And now I was going through it. I even remember there was a point where I just said, like, coddling myself. I wasn't disbelief at what was going on. Oh, and then I responded to Griselda and I say something like, why are you telling me this? Like, were you expecting me to leave him? Because if you were, I ain't not there to get it's our man now. I ain't going no damn way. I swear to God. I was like, I sent her a long message. I was like, I'll be damned if you think I'm gonna leave him because you're trying to be vindictive. I ain't gonna do shit. I ain't gonna leave him. And then I sent him those messages. I swear to God, guys, that man took maybe 2.5 hours to get to the house for a route that could have taken him 35 minutes. Because I was like, wait a king, when I see this man, I'm gonna burn this whole house down. Like, and like there'll be nothing left. It'll be a Romeo and Juliet. Bashile way too ending. It's banned. Eventually he gets to the house and he's terrified. He's doing this. And I'm like, okay. The first thing I remember is throwing an avocado at him. That's what I knew. Guys. No, man. I was like, guys, hey. And now I'm like, now, can the evidence, can the key facts, can check out the message, this is what's happening. Go to another day. How do I do more? And then now, you know what, guys, Zulu women have this calm thing about them when they're angry. Sotho women, it's a vengeance you'll never wish you want to see. Like, we get loud, we get angry, and the vulgarity, if that's even a word, we can become so vulgar. Sotho women, Tswana women, we can become so vulgar that day, even sunlight was not going to work. Omo was not going to work. Why do you know what I safe? No, but I suppose sa kawash se hlatswa dikoloi and maybe nele sunlight le sona mara no. Hono what I se hardcore because I threw everything at him. And I even remember that day because he wouldn't let me leave. I was so angry, I was so shaken, I was so torn. But at least in the leaderboard, it moved from Griselda 2, Naledi 0 to Naledi 2, Griselda -1. because I had to bring the girlies back up. Then it became a meeting, guys. Then the mom called Griselda. Then it was hectic. I remember because I don't think we spoke for a week in that house. But that day, I had a guys. I was like, I remember, it was my first time being that pissed at a nigga. He did every nice thing he could, and I was still like, your face is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And then she was disgusting faces. Yeah. To a point where we actually had to break up. I could not forgive him. And that's when I started realizing my grudges and how I couldn't let things go. Because even the jokes he would make, I wouldn't laugh. And that man used to make me laugh. And I went, it was even, guys, I was so pissed. I even remember at some point we were driving from his aunt's house, and then he played Daddy's Home by Asha. And I asked him to stop the car so I can get out. And I was like, Daddy's Home, I can't get to my car. You okay? But Daddy, so get the fuck up. Open this motherfucking door and get the fuck up on it. Daddy's home, young. No. And the only reason it triggered me is because that's what she called him. And I was just like, I don't want to see your disgusting parental face ever again. Oh, guys, good times. Guys, we had to stop in the middle of nowhere. I had to think. Like, I couldn't be in the same car. I just couldn't. I'm even just thinking about it. I remember how hot I used to get. I'm even getting goosebumps thinking about that day. Like, I was just like, I swear to God. I swear to God. Like, nah. But eventually I forgave him. I forgave him. He apologized. He apologized. And also another thing that was making me very weird is because when two people have had kids together, you don't know if they use protection or not. And I remember hearing this at the salon when the lady used to do my hair, Mzamo, would say to me, Naledi, indoda nabantwana isadla umama wakhona ngoba mina ngisadla ubaba womntwana. And she said that to me, and I was like, mina umuntu okay. Kiss Tembile, I'll never forget Tembile. Andreza Arnaledi, indoda nabantwana isadla nomama wakhona ngoba mina ngisadla nobaba wabantwana ngoba umuntu engemaziyo angithi. I remember telling him that, and he laughed it off. He's like, no, there's no such thing, it's just her. And there abantu abasekasile kanti. I fucking hated ya. And the thing is, there were a lot more damaging messages besides the whole like intimate images. There were a lot more damaging messages which just put me in a rock and a hard place. But eventually he apologized, I forgave him, and we somehow got over that. Somehow. Oh man, yes, PD. Nah, Drake owes me for all that trauma. Oh no. I think I've reached the end of the story time, and I battled telling the story time for a really long time because you know what? You never want to really involve people who weren't in your story, and I hate third-party involvements, especially when children are involved. But eventually I had to tell the story because I felt like I was in a state, in a place where I'd gotten over it, and by getting over it means forgiving all the parties involved, so that being Drake, Griselda, and also thinking that maybe Griselda was just as blindsided as I was, and maybe she was fooled as I was, and maybe she was convinced that he was going to leave me, of which that's what men do. So for a really long time, I didn't want to tell the story because I felt like, I definitely advocate and believe that women are always the victim in situations like this. It's never the men. It's always the men who are doing some shady ass shit. But I think for a while, it just triggered me. Seeing baby mama's things on the timeline was not grand for me. But yeah, guys, I got over it, and yeah, it's definitely a funny story to tell. And I'm so glad that that person asked me to do story times again because I had completely forgotten about the story time. But yeah, guys, that is it. We have reached the end of my story time. I really hope you guys enjoyed the story. Please comment down below and let me know what you thought. If you thought that I was the crazy woman, or you thought, nah, it could just be me. It could just be me. That's okay. I don't want you to really comment on the other parties involved. This is just a funny story, so let's keep it there. But yeah, guys, we've reached the end of this video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video. But until then, we've reached the end of the story time, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.